walked out. Could she have run away? I have no idea. I mean, she was sleeping in the back. It's kind of hard to say. None of you seen her? There's only two of us in the restaurant, just myself and my wife. There's nobody else in the restaurant. There's only 3 people in the restaurant right now. Okay, when you guys left, who was there with you? Who was there with your daughter when you guys left to go get your other kid from school? My wife. I got my other kid from school. So I picked up my eldest kid from school. My wife was at the restaurant with the youngest kid. But when we came back, she's here. The little girl is here. My wife is here. The restaurant is open. The restaurant's always open. I usually open up. I drop my daughter off at school in the morning, and then we come here to open up the restaurant, and I go pick her up. Okay, right now, though, when you left, you said your wife and your daughter left to go pick up your daughter from school? No, I didn't say that. I said that my wife is here all the time.
Did you hear the whole thing?
Yes.
Was he contradicting himself, or?
I would say that I think she was having a hard time understanding. I don't think that he was blatantly contradicting or anything was particularly alarming about the 911 call. I think the only thing that I take away from the call that was like a little, is that he seems a little calm. However, that could be seen as a positive trait of a father trying to get a goal done, a mission done.
Spice curious? Jollibee spicy chicken joints. Spicy delicious. Spicy chicken joints. Spicy delicious. Spicy now. Delicious spot.
When I met with myself, okay, when I went to pick up my daughter, when we came back, myself and my daughter, not my wife. My wife was here the whole time. We came back.
So your wife hasn't seen her since around the 4 or 5 o'clock either?
Yes.
He explains they saw her on 4 or 5. Everyone. The 6-year-old saw her, the wife saw her, the husband saw her, everybody saw her sleeping, and then the dinner rush came. They were fixing up the dinner rush. Afterwards, they went to check on her and she's gone, and it's been 5 hours. Maybe she managed to walk out the back door. And if that's the case, she maybe has a few more hours left. Because if she's been out there for at least a few hours, and it's 6 degrees outside, she doesn't have a lot of time.
6 degrees Fahrenheit?
Yes. If the walk-in freezer is the worst case scenario, at least on first glance, this is the second worst case scenario. Ashley, 5-year-old Ashley, being lost outside in the cold. A lot of health inspectors do not like to eat out at restaurants. It's just not a fun time for them. You want to eat dinner with a health inspector, you're probably going to go to their house. It's understandable. Maybe it's safer to cook at home when a ton of restaurants they're inspecting are clearly doing what they call fire drills. You think the health inspector doesn't know what's going on? They know. Manager, owner, eyes get huge. They start ordering employees to do all sorts of tasks. You over there, you over there. They're like managing a drill to cover up all sorts of potential violations, which usually results in creating more violations on the spot. Or some of them try the distraction method. Divide and conquer. They send people to bombard the inspector to get all their attention so they can't actually focus on the restaurant, and the inspector is thinking, that's not working.
Sometimes I hear they will have they will form a clique with the other restaurants nearby.
Yes.
So usually when it comes to one of them, they will alarm the others.
Yes. Like there are so many ways around it. I think the health inspectors are the citizens' #1 friend and the restaurant's #1 enemy sometimes. And one of them just goes by this rule. One health inspector, he said, go to the bathroom. Before you order, go to the bathroom. Usually in most restaurants, the bathroom and the kitchen are in very similar conditions. One health inspector writes online. At one busy restaurant, there was a bucket under the prep bench. And I thought, what's that bucket? I walked up to it. The chefs were peeing inside the bucket instead of going to the bathroom. Another says, I do remember a steak being returned once. Flipped it over. There was a crispy fried cockroach cooked into one side of it. One netizen writes online, my mom was inspecting a donut shop in California and saw someone changing a diaper on the dough prep table. Their excuse was, well, we're not open yet. People say, I've seen soup being prepared in 5-gallon Home Depot buckets on the floor. I've seen soup being prepared without utensils, just using a bare arm to stir the soup. Someone said, I discovered as a health inspector, one of the local restaurants had been washing dishes in the lake behind the restaurant. Another said, I'm not a health inspector, but I worked at a major fast food chain. I had a coworker that would lick her index finger every time she peeled a slice of cheese from the stack of cheese to make cheeseburgers. It was as if she was trying to separate a sheet of paper from a stack of papers. I would watch her do this all day long. I never said anything to the health department, but I sure as hell never ate the cheeseburgers. Another person writes, I worked at another major national food chain, fast food chain. When the health inspector came, the cooks took all the expired food out of the fridge, stored it in their cars by the dumpster until after the health inspector left, and then we put it all back. One health inspector said, we kept getting reports of a vanilla ice cream machine with black specks in it. Worried it would be grinding metal, like a little locked metal. That could be a
Hi,
health hazard.
Ulysses.
The barrel
Thank you
for the
for
ice cream
dropping
was
by.
infested with cockroaches, just being ground up and expelled as additional protein. One person writes, you think that's bad? I saw a floor painted with non-slip paint, and they literally painted over a dead rat and sealed it there. Considering how bad health inspections can go, Ong's Chinese cuisine in Ohio is actually not that bad. Ong's is a Chinese carryout restaurant, so you don't really go there to sit and dine in. It's you go there, you order food, you get your dank Chinese food, and you leave. You pick up, you do to-go orders. You have some tables lined up with some menus and like the soy sauce containers with the chili oil containers, but most of the time you see a row of people standing on their phones waiting for their takeout. Most of Ong's Chinese cuisine violations include chicken thawing on a rack at room temp. Food should be thawed under refrigerator or running water. Chicken that has been cooked is cooling at room temp. Food should be cooled by placing in shallow pans and placed in the walk-in cooler. And then lastly, chicken has been repackaged into disposable grocery bags. Food that is repackaged must be repackaged into food-grade packaging.
These are comments from the
Yes.
inspectors.
Yes. Now, regardless, once these problems are fixed, they pass all their health inspections. There's really nothing notable in any of their health inspections, except one that is taken by Inspector Christina, but none of the customers really cared for it. January 4th, 2017, she says, while conducting my inspection, I noticed a little girl hunched down in a small toddler chair in the dry storage room. It caught me off guard because of her presence and demeanor. I thought the owner and his wife were there. I asked the little girl how old she was, and I got no answer. And I stared at her and I said, are you 3? She responded back, 5. The girl remained in the same spot during the whole time. I was inside the facility approximately 90 minutes. I asked the male owner if she went to preschool or kindergarten, and he reported she went to kindergarten, but I don't know. There was a blue table in the facility by the hallway of the kitchen, had coloring books, crayons, a baby doll, another toy. It was just so strange though. I don't know, it was so odd. The little girl was so quiet, and she would only stare at the floor. I thought she was in trouble for something, but I'm not sure. I just thought it was so strange the entire time I was there. I didn't even know she was there too. It was like she was like a little ghost.
Is this an interview? Or is it?
This is a written formal statement, an interview with the officer. A few weeks later, that little girl, 5-year-old Ashley, goes missing. Ong's Chinese cuisine restaurant technically has 4 employees. You've got Liang Dao, so Liang, the dad. You got Ning Ning, the mom. Jojo is the 6-year-old daughter. This is a nickname. This is not her real name, but they refer to her as Jojo, but it's not her government name. And then Ashley is the 5-year-old daughter. So there are the 4 employees of the restaurant. Nobody else works there. It's just the 4 of them and a 300-item menu. And every single person that walks into the restaurant to order, the approximately 5 to 8 minutes that they wait for their food, they will all have very different feelings about this family. A former delivery driver just mentioned that Ming and Liang seemed like good people. However, I always thought Liang wanted a son. He would say, I want a son, but he didn't have one. That really bothered him. Do with that what you will. Others think it's just a little bit much to run the entire restaurant with the 2 of them. When they do the cooking, they do the front of the house, everything. I imagine the hours would be insane. One fellow parent at the local elementary school says, my daughter was friends with their oldest daughter, Jojo. If they wanted play dates, I would have to bring my daughter to the restaurant. But the family unit as a whole is pretty wholesome. I don't think I ever caught them at a bad moment. This is a direct quote from neighbors. Like, these are direct quotes from people that knew the family. They're always very polite, a little reserved. The family seems very private, but the two girls, by all accounts, seem like daddy's girls. But now, Ashley is gone, and the only the police have is maybe she went outside. The doors to the back lead to the back parking lot of the plaza. Once you pass that, it's a pretty dense wooded area. It's like one of those suburban areas in Ohio where you drive and it's tree, plaza, tree, plaza. Those are the trees. She's 5. I mean, she could have been anywhere. She could have been taken. We don't know. I mean, has anybody been acting strange recently? Leah, the dad, says, there were 2 guys that came into the restaurant conversations a few months apart, but twice. I remember because they were asking some weird questions. We thought like they were trying to see which restaurant to target for a robbery. They were asking like, when are your busiest times? How long do you stay busy? What time do you close? I don't think anything of it after the second time because it just seemed kind of dumb that they would also ask all of that. And probably they realized that there's not much to rob there, so they moved on. But maybe Leanne was wrong. Maybe they didn't come for the robbery. Maybe they were looking for something else. Because behind the restaurant, in the woods, the police find their very first piece of evidence, and it's not looking good. A pair of black shoes. Too big to be shoes. Adult shoes. Like men's sneakers. Over 100 officers are searching the dense woods behind restaurants all night. Civilians are coming out in giant puffer jackets and winter coats to help search. One woman in the car is being interviewed as she's going to search. I just pray that if somebody took her, that they would have the heart to bring her home because I'm sure these parents are in such distress.
She was the sweetest little thing. I just loved her so much. Every time I would go in to pick up food from them, she was always behind the counter and she would talk to me.
So that night, there is a gathering in the plaza of the restaurant with all the locals. People are praying. They're comforting each other. They're praying that Ashley makes it back home. And there's at least one person there praying that Ashley will never be found. Do you know how to tell when someone is lying? When there's so many videos on YouTube like FBI profilers telling you how to spot a liar, there's probably more than 4 videos on this topic at the very least. But the only way to really tell if someone is lying is to establish a baseline. Figure their unique nonverbal communication habits first, and then see if they change when they're being deceptive. But if you don't have the time for that, look for micro expressions. That's what they say. Tell someone good news about your life and watch for a brief flash of a smirk or a grimace before they smile and congratulate you. And if you catch it, even for like a split second, just know that maybe they're not the most happy for you. Or sometimes it's below the table signs, which actually works. There was a K-drama clip that went viral recently, but there's a reason that it went viral because humans have a very distinct way of communicating. The clip is of a guy and a girl meeting up at a coffee shop. The girl starts crying. The guy gets up to get her tissues, feeling bad for her. But as he's walking back to the table, her back is turned to him. She's still sitting at the table crying. He stops because just from looking at her back, he can tell her body language and she's lying. She's not actually crying. Can you guess what that body language is?
Like chest up, like shoulders straight.
Yeah. She's hunched over crying.
She's shaking her leg. Yes.
Her foot is moving up and down. She's rocking one foot. Her legs are crossed, and she's rocking one foot.
Yeah.
Which typically doesn't happen when you're crying and distraught. It's very inconsistent. So clearly, when adults lie, there are inconsistencies. But is it possible for a kid to lie? I mean, one could argue it's nearly impossible for kids to lie. I actually hate that thing where it's like, all kids lie. I get it. Kids go through a phase where they test boundaries and they learn how to communicate. But I think it's nearly impossible for kids to lie because most of the time, adults will be able to spot it. They're not the most advanced at hiding their deception. One of the detectives on site, searching for Ashley, spots her older sister, Jojo, sitting off to the side. He decides, with consent, to ask Jojo again exactly what is it that she saw in that restaurant. Jojo glances around. She makes sure that nobody's eavesdropping, and she whispers, Mommy and Daddy said I can't see what happened.
What?
But I don't really know. I'm not sure. Mommy and Daddy said I can't see what happened. Suddenly, The detective is staring at me and Liang from across the restaurant. And it's not him. Liang is fidgeting with his hands, talking to other officers. He almost looks nervous more than anything, which is fine. Maybe he is nervous. He's nervous to find his daughter. But Mimi, her reaction right now this entire time has been cold. The officer walks up to Liang, the dad. Do you have a recent photo of Ashley? I do not. You don't have social media, you don't post them, you have a physical album somewhere. No, the only picture I have of her is her passport photo. Huh. Some people swear by the idea that the only way to lie on a polygraph test and not get caught is to clench your butt cheeks or put a thumbtack in your shoe, and every time that you answer a question truthfully, you step your toe onto the thumbtack. Or you clench your butt muscles and you release them slowly to throw off the questions reading. Others say, no, you just have to lie. Like you have to think when they ask you normal questions, so they do a baseline first. Control questions is what they call them. They ask you for your government name, your birthday, who the president is. This is your baseline. This is when you're normal. We're not stressed out. This is how you're going to be. They said when they ask those questions, start fighting and fix it. Zero off the baseline. Because that's what they're going to compare the lies to. Other netizens say, listen, I've lied on many polygraphs. It's just 90% breath control. Just sit in the chair and keep a steady breath. Every once in a while during a control question, interrupt your normal breathing rhythm and breathe faster. And then go back to normal. Be very calm. They will ask you the same questions over and over. You will be bored. You will be frustrated. This is a game of patience. With some even saying that the best way to beat a polygraph is during the control questions where they ask you for your name, start counting backwards from 100 by intervals of 7. So like 93, and then from there and there. Because that makes I guess it does something physiologically to you. Or recall emotionally charged memories during childhood to trigger physiological responses that are going to throw people off. It's actually pretty terrifying how a lot of polygraph administrators cannot tell when someone is using a deceptive technique. It's really hard to detect. But that means if you completely tell the truth, and it will look like you're lying. Liang, the dad, is the first to go. He's welcomed into the interrogation room. He's wearing a black hoodie, dressed comfortably. But first, the control answers. Do you have any idea what the reason is for this test? To see if I hurt my daughter? Did you hurt Ashley? Answer truthfully by saying the word yes or no.
Oh, did you go through a lie detector?
Yes. No. If I were to ask you right now, do you physically have anything to do with Ashley's disappearance, what would the truthful answer be? No. Have you ever had any psychological counseling? Yes. When was last time? About a month ago. What was going on? What were you having a hard time with? My wife's immigration case. Oh, well, yeah, what is going on with that? Is she going to be deported or something? So Ming is trying to get asylum in the United States, but it's not working. I don't know. Maybe. But you're an American citizen. Yes. And your wife can eventually become a U.S. citizen. My mom did the process as well. It's harder than it looks. So what do you feel? What were some of the things emotionally that you're feeling? That my wife might get deported. Okay. I don't know what to do with my kids. So you were worried about what might happen, that she can't take them with her? I don't know. Even if she did, I would still have to support them. On Tuesdays, that's the only day the restaurant closes. What do you do on your day off? I pretty much do stuff at the restaurant. So you don't have any hobbies or things you like to do? I like to draw, play some games. Just very calm. What is your greatest ambition in life? Wait, how old are you? 24. Honestly, I told my life I gave up on personal stuff. I just want to raise the kids. I just want to make sure that they have a good future. Do you plan to have more children than 2? Yeah, I wanted 4, but it can be tough. What's the single best thing that's ever happened to your life so far? My kids. What's the single worst thing that's ever happened to your life since the day you were born? Probably this. This is where it starts feeling less like a polygraph and more like a full-blown interrogation. A lot of people would categorize this type of interrogation like being buried alive. So I think it's very interesting when you watch a lot of interrogation tapes, each one has vastly different pacing, but they're all kind of across the board can fit into different categories. And it always depends on probably the interrogator themselves, how much evidence they actually have on the subject, and then the subject themselves. Each personality is going to be different. But this one is such a clear categorization of being buried alive. Just soil collapsing on the subject. The overlying feeling is supposed to be every lie you tell buries you deeper and it becomes suffocating. The interrogator asked Lane, "Why did you agree to take the polygraph today?" "I didn't know. I thought I had to, you know? Has Ashley ever run away before?" "Run away? Run away from home?" "She went out the back door before." "Okay, I'm just talking about, is she the type to kind of run off and go?" "No." "You say she ran out the back door, ran out of the back room at the apartment?" "No, at the restaurant." "Can you kind of tell me what you did yesterday?" "Yesterday? Oh, sorry, I haven't slept for a while, so I don't know what yesterday was." "Has Ashley ever wandered off before?" "Yes, she opened the back door and walked out before." "Can she unlock the door herself to get out?" "Yeah, both my daughters can. They both did it. They're not supposed to do it, but they did it." "So how many locks are on the back door that they have to open?" "No, it automatically opens from the inside." "Okay, and then you need a key to get back inside if you're outside?" "Yes." "What do you think happened to Ashley?" "I don't know." "So what do you think? If somebody took your child, what do you think should happen to that person? Do you want to see happen to a conversation that someone took your child, she was just wandering around, and they picked her up and took her?" "I would want her back." "What do you think should happen to that person?" "Go to jail." What would be the possibility that an accident happened inside the restaurant?" "Possibility of an accident happening inside to where she got hurt really, really bad?" "I guess it's possible." I'm asking you because I have to look at every possibility when I'm doing the polygraph, okay? The child walks out the door, and a very unfortunate thing happens. Someone picks her up and takes her, and now they have their own child. Maybe there's an accident. She gets burned with grease or something, and the next thing you know, she's laying lifeless. You're scared. You don't know if police are going to believe you or not, so you just take her body and hide it somewhere. I have to look at that possibility because, unfortunately, those things happen as well. But if you know what happened to your daughter, you need to tell me. Because there's an awful lot of people right now looking for her. A lot of people, more than you can imagine. Highway patrol's got helicopters, airplanes, they've got dogs, they've got all kinds of people looking for her. But if you know we're never going to find her, you need to let us know right now. Because these people are away from their families, and they will be for days and days and days. And that's not fair to them if you know, in fact, where Ashley really is. The other possibility would be that you sold her. Unfortunately, a lot of people do this. They sell their own children. But if you know what happened, you need to tell me. We gotta stop. You're giving me a lot of stuff, and I haven't slept in a really long time right now. I don't think I want to do this. A lot of other people aren't going to sleep until they find her. We owe it to you. We owe it to everybody. We owe it to Ashley. I'm having trouble keeping my eyes open right now. I've had 5 minutes of rest since yesterday, and I slept. I don't know how much. You ask all these tough questions, and I'm starting to get scared. What are you scared of? Do you know something that you haven't told them? I mean, look, I'll be your spokesperson for you. I know those people. There's no reason that you shouldn't be able to tell what you need to tell. There's no reason you shouldn't be able to. And I will go right beside you. I won't make you do it by yourself. But you've got to tell me what's going on. I'm scared if I continue with this test and it shows that I'm lying or I'm trying to fake the test or something, it's going to reflect badly. You're right. It will reflect badly. We don't want that. No, we don't want that. And I told you I'm having a really hard time concentrating and sitting here. I can't even really keep my eyes open. I just keep thinking. Can you tell us where she is? Can you tell us what happened to her so we can at least go find her? Can you at least do that for us? I'm just worried for my wife, that's all. Why? What did she do? Huh? What did your wife do? Did she make a mistake? No, her deportation, you know. I get that, but I don't care about that. It's not about your wife, it's about your daughter. We just want to find your daughter. No, my whole family is going to fall apart. Can I just go home first? I know you know something. I just want to be able to call off all these people if I can. If I can send them home, that's all I want to do. I just need a little more time. That's all. Do you have any idea where she is? If we just know where she is, you don't have to tell me the rest of the story. I just want to know where we can find her. I just need a little more time. Do you know where she is? Would you tell me that? Do you know where she is? The longer this goes on, and then they find out all along you could have stopped it and you didn't, gloves are off. There's nobody that's going to deal with you. Nobody's going to feel sorry for anybody, and it's going to get really ugly. And I don't want that to happen. There's no reason for that. I don't want it to happen. You don't want it to happen. You don't have to explain to me, but at least let us go get her. That's all we want to do, so that we can send everyone home so they can at least spend their evening with their loved ones. I know, I understand. Okay, I really do. But it's not just my wife that's gonna. Can I just leave? Can I just leave for a little while? Please let me go back home to my wife and see my kid. I just want to see my kid. You're not gonna tell us right now. I just want to see my kid and my wife. I want to help, but I can't help if you don't help me. I'm gonna reach my arm out to you. I'm gonna reach my hand out to you. Take my hand. I'm here to help you. Look at my hand. It's shaking. It shakes when I'm nervous. But I'm putting my hand out to you. Please. It was an accident. We didn't mean for this to happen. What happened? Did she fall? No. Something get spilled on her? No. Somebody fall on her? No. Was she playing and she got hurt? No. Just tell us so we can at least go get her. I mean, I'm still gonna go to jail. But what did you do? Why would you go to jail? Because I hit a dead one. The police are searching for Ashley in the woods and near the restaurant. They unlocked the front door to Ang's Cuisine. This is not their first search of this entire restaurant, but now they know for sure that they're looking in the right direction. They start combing through the entire place again, but this time with a lot more patience. They go through the kitchen, the walk-in freezer, the messy storage room, the tiny closet with the mattress in there. And why is there a ladder propped up against the wall, leaned above where the walk-in freezer is? So on top of the giant commercial walk-in freezer, there's a crawl space. And they shine the light. The tiles are not even. Get the ladder. We've got to go up there.
So the lie detector test was when was that taken? The next day?
The next day. So they've been searching, they call it 9 p.m. They've been searching all night into the day, and the lie detector test is taken.
And then after that, this is when the police
Yes.
went back to the
Yes. I mean, I do think that the police were suspicious of the couple from the get-go, but they're honing in now. They're no longer focusing on the woods. They're inside the restaurant. Taking your business to the next level is a dream lots of us share, but too often kind of just hold ourselves back, thinking like, what if I don't have the skills? What if I don't know how to do this? What if I can't do it alone? And that's exactly where we were when I decided to turn those what ifs into, you know what, why not? Let's try it, and let's give Shopify a try. My family and I were able to launch our own small business selling limited edition artwork at Grandpa Mango's art studio because honestly, we had Shopify. There would have been no other way. They are an all-in-one commerce platform to start and run and grow a business. Shopify has your back with gorgeous, ready-to-go templates, AI tools built specifically for commerce, and the world's highest converting, customizable one-click checkout that also powers 10% of US e-commerce. If you've been sitting on a business idea or wanting to take your side hustle to the next step, stop overthinking it. Shopify makes it so much easier than you think. Sign up for your $1 per month trial and start selling today at shopify.com/rotten. Go to shopify.com/rotten. Shopify.com/rotten. This episode is sponsored by Acorns. The best piece of money advice I've ever received is that you don't need to wait until you have enough money to start investing. Because what even is enough money? You don't need a lump sum of cash to get into it. And honestly, the real insight is that starting small builds momentum. That is where Acorn comes in. I've talked about them before, but Acorns is truly the financial wellness app that makes it easy to start saving and investing for your future. You don't need to be rich. Acorns lets you get started with the spare money that you've got right now, even if all you've got is spare change. You don't need to be an expert, you just need to stick with it. And Acorns makes that easy too. Acorns automatically invests your money, giving it a chance to grow with time. Sign up now and join the over 14 million all-time customers who have already saved and invested over $25 billion with Acorns. Head to acorns.com/Watson or download the Acorns app to get started. Paid client endorsement. Compensation provides incentive to positively promote Acorns. Tier 4 compensation provided. Investing involves risks. Acorn Advisors LLC and SEC registered investment advisor. View important disclosures at acorns.com/Watson. The first officer calmly pulls down the first tile, places it on the ground. He shines his light into this tiny little crawl space, and it is stored. There's photo albums, wedding photos of Ming Ming and Liang. He starts taking some of them down, and in the back, he sees like these few plastic bags that smell. He grabs them and he opens them as gently and as quickly as possible, and inside he sees skin, dried fish skin, and dried chicken. He shines his flashlight deeper into the crawl space, and now he's like, there's really nothing left up here. I'm so confused. He sees in the very back, shoved deep into the crevice of the crawl space, is a busing container. Like, you know those gray plastic containers that in restaurants they use to take the dishes off the tables? These little plastic tubs.
Yes, like, yeah. So this is all above the ceiling, you're saying?
It's like a tiny little closet, like a mini attic, but it's not even really an attic. So the ceiling is flat. It's one ceiling. But because the freezer is not tall enough, there's a crawl space above it. There's some ducts,
I see.
and a little bit of space, maybe like a cabinet.
So they connect the stuff freezer to the ceiling, and that's a little.
Yeah. And he just sees that bucket left. So he starts slowing more storage. He pulls it closer and closer, and he hears like a shaking. It's salt. It's like filled with salt. Just placed up here. Kind of weird, but I mean, maybe it's not the most hygienic restaurant. They brush away some of the salt, and inside is a black plastic bag. And inside of that, in a fetal position, is Ashley. All the major news networks in Ohio are reporting breaking news. We have confirmed here at the scene that 5-year-old Ashley's body has been found inside her parents' restaurant. So continuing with this timeline, people are just trying to add 2 and 2 together now. That means that for 8 to 9 hours, Ang's restaurant has been fully operating, serving customers cooking while the owner's deceased 5-year-old daughter was in the back. The forensic pathologist has to remove all the salt covering Ashley's body, all those little white specks. They conclude that the cause of death is blunt force trauma to the head and the torso. A lot of the officers did not like parents from the get-go. One even goes into detail in his report. Eyes were not bloodshot, no crying and mucus from the nasal cavity. They just think, that's not how you act when your child is missing, unless you're not their parent. Mimi and Liang have been telling Ashley for months, I am your mom. This is your dad. That person is not your mom. Stop calling them your mom. I'm your mom. But it isn't not clicking with Ashley. Every time she sees Ming and Liang get intense about all of this, she starts crying, she starts acting out. Ming explains to the officers it's because Ashley was raised by Liang's parents, her paternal grandparents, ever since she was young. Ashley literally thinks that Liang's mom, her grandma, is her real mom. Ming says, I need to talk to her, to explain to her, I'm your mom. Grandma is daddy's mommy. It's not your mommy, I'm your mommy. You are from me, from my belly, okay? It's so hard to talk to her when she's not even 4. Ming and Liang are sitting in separate interrogation rooms now in the police station. Ashley's body is found. At first, Ming tries to, not very convincingly, but attempts to try and tell the investigators that maybe someone brought up the idea that perhaps Ashley was taken. She says, I don't know. The lady told me she thinks someone took her.
So this is the next day. The body has been found. Both parents are in the police station, and she has been told that the body is found.
Yeah. In Ming's interrogation room, there's a female and male interrogator, as well as a female Chinese translator that will come in and out. The detectives try to explain how he sat with Jojo alone to ask her questions, and he asks Ming, and it's very interesting. Ming has her hands placed on the table, they're folded. It's almost like she's in a work meeting. Do you know what I asked your oldest daughter? I said, where's your sister at? Do you know what she told me? Mommy and Daddy don't want me to tell you what happened.
Because
tell you a story. We found that. Okay. What's that? She's deceased. What? You want to tell you where you found her? Do you want to tell us what happened? I don't know. I think you're sharing personally a little overwhelmed by my news because that's what you're telling us. And I don't think, and I think that your mom Blake can be very overwhelming at times. I've got 4 kids I know. I can tell your struggle. And I just want to be able to sit here with you and try to figure out what happened from here from you.
The female detective leans in. What happened at the restaurant? What are you talking about? We know something happened at the restaurant, so we're trying to figure out what led up to that. I don't know. I think accidents happen too, and I think that there could be something that happened that was an accident, and you didn't mean for it to happen, or your husband didn't mean for it to happen. Jojo didn't mean for it to happen, so we need to figure out some sort of accident happened so we can understand. I just know what Jojo told me. How do you think she's feeling right now? This is the male detective. I don't know.
Your mom, your mom, you got a little girl that each of looks up to you.
She said, I'm not a caring
Yeah.
mom.
Why do you think I'm mom? Because I can tell you take care of JoJo. You know, I tell the kids all the time.
She has a brief moment with the translator where the translator has to explain to her that caring means loving.
他说这孩子很好，照顾他，照顾他很偏，其他问题我没有对他们挺好，我自己对他们很严。他明天说我这种，我说我对他们很严，我说我是个很严的妈妈。可是你给孩子吃饭的嘛，对呀，照顾他们哈，就是顾到这一片的人，你看，老人那里这个爱呀，对吧？老人。Yeah, you love your kids.
So it appears that maybe she doesn't know what the word caring means. Then they just skim over it.
Actually, you're not even crying. I can't. Why? Because I can't. I don't have any squatters anymore. Okay. I understand that. That's one thing you're not going to understand. Okay. What happened to her?
The male detective on the side starts getting aggressive with Ming. He leans forward. He's raising his voice. Your daughter is dead, Ming. She's dead. She's dead. She wasn't on the couch. She wasn't on the bed. She's dead in your restaurant. And now we can sit here and play games all night. But I don't want to do this. I know that you love your daughters. You told us. Do you think that JoJo wants to go through this and lose her sister? Do you want to sit and play whatever and say, I don't know what happened? What happened to Ashley? How did she end up dead in your restaurant? Silence. Your daughter is dead. I just don't understand. You said you have nothing left. Isn't that what you told me? You don't have any tears left. You have nothing left. Mimi, your daughter is dead. I just don't understand that. I'm to the point where I'm crying for your daughter. I'm not expecting you to cry, but there's the death of a 5-year-old little girl.
Discover New York's art scene. Book top hotels and flights at cheap rates with Agoda. See the world for less. Book now.
The energy in this tiny room feels like maybe it's a little bit much. Everybody steps out, leaves Ming alone with her thoughts, and now just the male detective returns. He plops down across our Ming. It looks like he's plopping down in front of this teenage kid who just got taken out. He looks disappointed, disgruntled. He looks like he would rather be, I don't know, 50 other places. What are we going to talk about? Ming shakes her head no. I'll listen. I don't have any more to say because I know that you're just going to tell me nothing happened. I just want to find out what happened to her. I can see it in your eyes that something happened.
I'm so tired. How do you think I'm Don't you think I'm tired? I was at home with my taking last night. Okay, I didn't sleep. So I woke up yesterday, Monday morning, 5:30 in the morning. I haven't been to bed since. Okay, my job's to help people, but also give people closure. Okay, your husband called me because your daughter is missing. That's the report that I got. Okay, I left my family because it's important to me to come to help you find your daughter.
They don't seem off in the interrogation room. Usually, the interrogators try to sit on the side. Sometimes you'll have one interrogator in front, but always someone to the side. This detective is closing in. He's sitting square in front of me. He's got his arms reaching about halfway onto the table. It's a tiny little table. He's looking me straight in the face. He's not letting her look away. She's resting her elbows on the very edge of the table, and she is also not leaning back from his gaze or his very intense body language. She's just staring right back. What happened to Ashley? How did she die? I kill her. You killed her? Yeah. How did she die?
Yeah, kill her. What happened? Well, just kill her. And we'll do that. How did you kill her? Did you hit her? Did you trip? Did you fall? I understand. Did you hit her? Yeah. Okay. How, how'd you hit her? How? Yeah. You're going to do that? Okay. Yeah. Yeah, what happened? How many times did you hit her? What happened after she died? After you say no died? Where did you get that after? Yeah, just never dead. Or, okay.
She says, I told my husband to take care of it. I need to take care of everything from the restaurant. I only have 2 hands. I'm not 4 hands, girl. I'm 2 hands. I don't want to do that to Ashley, but you can't control yourself sometimes. Sometimes if you do it 1 time, that means you have to do it 2 times. If you do it 2 times, then you have to do it 3 times. I don't want to do that, but I can't control myself. Meanwhile, Liang, the dad, is in the next interrogation room over, explaining, my wife, she's not a bad person. I mean, I married her. I wouldn't marry her if she was physically abusive in the beginning because, see, my daughter, she's 6 years old, Jojo. Took care of both of us for 6 years. Not once did my wife physically abuse Jojo out of anger or anything like that. We spanked her if she did something wrong, but nothing like the bruises on her or like all over the place that you found on Ashley. My wife is a good person. I know it's very hard to believe seeing Ashley, but look at Jojo. Look at Jojo. Mimi is a good person. She's a good mother. She just has problems.
Why didn't you ever report the abuse to law enforcement?
Because we're already, scared. Scared that I took my wife away.
Well, how bad? I mean, what kind of abuse are we talking?
It's not like initially so bad. If it was initially so bad, I would probably report it, but it just,
Escalated.
Yeah, and then at that point, I was like, she got so much bruises on her. I can't call her in this point.
What would she? Just her arm? Would she kick her? Would she hit her? What happened?
Well, pretty much all of it, twist her arm, kick her, hit her.
They never touched her.
Not a lot.
He explains that Ashley was raised by his parents for the first 4 years of her life. And since Ashley got back, maybe not even a year ago, it's been rough. He says that his parents call nonstop. They send relatives over to tell Ming that she's a horrible mother. He says, my mom started telling my wife that she's doing it wrong, that she's raising Ashley wrong. That could cost my wife because it's, your own daughter, and then your mother-in-law's telling you that you're not doing it right, you're not supposed to be doing what you're supposed to be doing. That's one thing, and then you gotta look after your own daughter. She's 4. She's not potty trained. She doesn't know her last name. She doesn't know if she's a boy or a girl, and the list goes on and on with all these names. And she finally knows that she's a girl because we taught her that, and we taught her her last name. But initially, when we got her back from my parents, she didn't know. And combined with the fact that my mom kept telling my wife that she's doing it wrong, and seeing how Ashley was actually raised, the combination of the two just made my wife really angry. And the more my wife saw Ashley being that way, not being able to be potty trained and just getting angry. It's always when Ashley does something that Mimi gets triggered by.
She still doesn't know to in the bathroom. So that really gets my wife going because we have her for a year now. And she doesn't hide anything. And really irritated way. Yes.
He tries to argue that every time Ashley would not be potty trained, it's a reminder for Ming about her mother-in-law criticizing her. Yeah. As for what happened yesterday, Liang tells the full picture, whereas Ming doesn't. Liang says that he went to go drop off Jojo from school. He comes home and he recognizes that Ashley had defecated in her diaper. So she pooped in her diaper because she's not potty trained. And which, by the way, I've got a very firm stance. If your child is not potty trained, that's on the responsibility of the parent. It's not the child. The child does not potty train themselves. She pooped in her diaper. And then I think she was so uncomfortable with the poop in her diaper because obviously it's very not a great sensation. She took off her diaper, which led to some of the poop falling onto the floor. Liang walks in. Ming Ming is smashing Ashley's head into the carpet.
In the restaurant or at home?
At home.
So, 5 years old when I still remember with body. And my wife got angry and hit her head on the carpet, 2 times. And eventually she was breathing. She was still breathing then. And did you watch your wife do it? Yeah.
She stops. They let her be. She's making these snoring sounds. And he says this isn't the first time that her head has been smashed into the carpet, so he didn't think anything of it. He thought it would just be fine, that she was hyperventilating, which that snoring sound, we talked about that, but not sleeping. Like, he thought she's sleeping or she's hyperventilating. So about a good 5 minutes pass, and all this vomit starts coming out of Ashley. She starts having green fluid come out of her nostrils. They take her, rinse her off in the bath. They still, I guess, don't think anything of it. They bring her back to the living room, and she's still breathing. And then a few minutes later, he goes to check up on her on the living room floor, and she is no longer breathing. He starts freaking out. That's when they need an outlet. They're going to dress her in her clothes, put her in the baby seat, take her from their apartment door to the car, buckle her into the car seat, drive their deceased child to the restaurant, unbuckle her. That's when the roofer saw her.
Bumili ng 6 bottles or cans or 2 1-liter bottles ng San Miguel beer. Para makakuha ng coupon, i-fill ang coupon, i-scan ang QR code, i-click ang San Miguel beer, Feel and Win promo page. Itap ang join campaign, i-scan ang alphanumeric code. More than 50 million in prizes ang ipamimigay. Sali na! Pila, pila, win! San Miguel, pila, win!
Just like Dixie's on Vision's concert, puno rin ng excitement ang new frontier together as Ulat gathered to see AJ Althea and Jazz for their biggest concert yet.
She was already deceased by this point. They're going to keep her in the back of the restaurant while they open up for business as usual. And then he's going to go pick up JoJo. JoJo's going to see her sleeping in the mattress on the back so that she doesn't have to lie, so that she can tell the truth and they look more credible as a family. And then after JoJo leaves for a second to get a tooth pulled out in the front, Liang moves Ashley's body on top of the crossface. It's sick and twisted that they're using their eldest daughter as an alibi. But he also says, I didn't know it was going to be this serious. He just thought that he was going to call 911 and they were going to say, okay, your daughter is missing. He said, I didn't know the procedure. We didn't think that I was going to be coming down here taking a polygraph. I was going to be asked so many questions, that it was going to be involving so many people. If we knew that there was going to be 100 people searching, maybe even more, I don't even know. I'm just sorry.
You guys actually cooked and served meals while your daughter was laying there. And for business as usual, both of us were afraid what was going to happen. If we did, we were afraid of them with our daughter, and them with our family, the restaurant, the health that we're getting, everything in our life that, that we worked so hard for 6 years. This was going to be gone.
See, he is so acting like he's so nice, right? Saying like, I didn't know, my wife is nice. I'm just thinking, I'm scared, this and that. He doesn't even care. The daughter died.
Yeah, later he keeps calling Ashley it. Did you and your wife both agree on putting her there in that container? I mean, we talked about places, and I said this is probably the best place to do it. It's well ventilated with the salt in it, and we're not going to be worried about the temperature because it's cooler up there. Now, side note, there are speculations by netizens, and as someone who knows a lot of people close to me that are autistic, there are speculations that perhaps Ashley was on the spectrum. At one point in interrogation with Liang, the dad, he shows the police how Ashley was standing, which seems to irk him to the point where it sounds like he's almost justifying their abuse to Ashley in some regard. He says, this is how she would stand. I don't know where you get that. I don't know how she did that, but my mother never corrected her, and this is not how a person stands. So he stands up in the interrogation room. He takes off his hoodie for this demonstration. He stands on his tippy toes, and his arms are bent, and a lot of people with autism call them like T-Rex arms. And they could be indicators for younger children where maybe diagnosing is a little bit harder. This seems to be something that some doctors who specialize in the diagnosis look for, and that her hands would be kind of bent at the elbows and then bent at the wrist with her hands kind of flapping forward. And then sometimes she would put all of her weight on just one foot. And then the other one would just be tippy toeing. And again, tippy toes is another sign that a lot of parents with autistic children look out for.
And she was do that. We would correct her, she would correct her, and she would do it. A lot of there's a lot of things that we felt that my mom had before that she should correct these things. So, every time I would fancy do something like that, it would trigger my wife, and then my wife would be reminded of what I thought that.
And he says that's the reason that Ashley was getting abused, whereas JoJo wasn't. Because when they got Ashley back from his parents, they said there were so many, quote, problems that Ashley could not feed herself. She was still in diapers. She didn't know how to use the restroom by herself. She was not potty trained. She didn't even know how to go into the refrigerator to get something. One family friend said, I've seen Ashley, if she's thirsty or wanted something, she would walk to the refrigerator, point. They would have to walk to the refrigerator, open it, and then she would point to what she wanted. She was still in a high chair because she didn't know how to use eating utensils, hold a cup. And again, I just don't know why any of the adults, even this family friend, is talking about it as if it's something wrong with Ashley. I don't think anything's wrong with Ashley. And if someone is upset by, I guess, maybe her development, it's up to the parents to work on that. I think it's crazy that they're talking about her like she's weird, like something's wrong with her, when nothing is wrong with her. They would say things like, so Ashley was almost like an infant in a 5-year-old's body. And again, they're almost placing the blame on Ashley when it's on the parents. Liang says, we would have to feed her, like even a regular piece of sliced bread. It would take her over half an hour to eat. My mom had her on a liquid or semi-liquid diet. She has problems processing solid foods. That's why it takes her so long to eat. Clearly, they have no intention of getting her help, though, because he says, we didn't take her to the doctor. We were afraid because the doctor would see, that she's bruised all over the body. Interestingly enough, a lot of people don't even know that they have two daughters. A lot of them only know JoJo. And there are speculations that because maybe Ashley was not what they perceived as neurotypical, they didn't want people to know that she was their daughter. And it's kind of gross because in Liang's interrogation, he continues to state that, yeah, okay, fine, Ming Ming's going to jail. I'm going to jail. But guess what? I don't want JoJo to be raised by my family. I want her to go into foster care. He said if JoJo is raised by his family, they're going to turn out the way Ashley did. He says JoJo's going to turn out the way Ashley did. He says, I just don't want my family to raise my kids. I'm just afraid they're going to turn out like Ashley, and then my wife is going to hate her. And even as he's being taken to prison, he says, I just don't want my mom to have contact with my oldest daughter, JoJo. Okay? Not that she's a bad person, it's just what happened with Ashley. I'm really afraid she's going to raise JoJo the same way. In prison, in jail, the couple have turned on each other. Ming Ming's attorneys have accused Liang of harming both Ming Ming and their two daughters. Those allegations did not come back up in court, but Ming Ming confided in a psychiatrist in prison that Liang was the one responsible for Ashley's death. She claims that she was instructed by him to tell the investigators that she was the sole person responsible for Ashley's death. Some netizens actually can agree with this theory because the way that she's confessing in the interrogation, it's vague and it's like, I killed her, let's get it over with. I did it, get me.
Oh, you're saying she did it. All she said was she killed her with him.
Yes.
And she didn't give any details.
Yes.
Every detail is from him.
Yes, and then some netizens are digging deeper psychologically and saying perhaps even her flippant attitude. So a lot of people, when they first see the interrogation, it's like, wow, this lady is crazy. And she is crazy, right?
Yeah.
But some people think, what if she thinks she's doing something for her eldest daughter? Like she's taking one for the family.
Yeah, I think she's clearly crazy, but I think the husband's more scary.
Yes. Terrifying.
Everything, the whole way he carries himself.
Like my wife is such a good person. She murdered our daughter in cold blood.
Yeah. He's in his mind. The story he tells is, "Oh, I love my wife and I'm protecting her."
Yeah.
But truly, if you think more, he's like clearly messed up.
So the argument by this people that believe, and again, nobody is feeling sympathy for Ming Ming, but they're saying that maybe Liang is the one that killed the daughter, and perhaps Ming Ming took the fall because Ming Ming is not in the U.S. legally, so she doesn't have her papers.
Yeah.
And so maybe she thought, either way, if he goes to prison, I'm gonna get deported, and then Georgia's gonna have nobody.
So what exactly did she say? She said he killed the daughter.
Yes, and that he has been abusive to not just her, but also the daughters. And he threatened her, if you don't take the fall, you're going to get deported, and JoJo's going to go into foster care, and I'm going to go to prison. And then she says that she originally took the hit for it until she realized that he requested JoJo to be sent off to foster care regardless. And the netizens who believe this theory, not, again, no sympathy for Ming Ming, but they have scoured through the On's Chinese Cuisine restaurant Facebook page. There are just back-to-back posts of Liang running that page and saying, sorry, we're closed today because my wife is sick. My wife is sick. So people are commenting, very odd that this place was closed so many times due to his wife being ill. They thought maybe he was being abusive. Now, October 12th, 2017, initially Ming Ming pleads not guilty to murder by reason of insanity. She ends up taking a plea deal. She pleads guilty to involuntary manslaughter and other charges. And under that plea deal, she has been sentenced to just 22 years in prison. The judge says, the horror of being beaten by her own mother. I use the word mother with great pain when talking to you. It's insulting for mothers who do what they're supposed to do for their children. 100 years would not be enough. So why 22 then? It's likely because she is going to be deported back to China right after her sentence in 2020. Meanwhile, Liang is serving a 12-year sentence for his part of the crime. He will be eligible for release in 2030, which netizens are very upset by because during his own interrogation with the police, he says, let's say I went through with this and I didn't get caught. I'm going to be looking over my shoulder for I don't know how long because a dead body is there that I eventually have to get rid of. And if you put it in the ocean, the tide can wash it back. If you bury it, animals can get at it. Someone can find it. If you burn it, there's a chance someone is going to see you because it's going to be a very big fire. You're not going to do it during the day. You're going to do it during the night. So when you're burning a big flame at night, someone is going to see it. We thought about all of this. And honestly, we weren't really too sure what to do after that. One officer writes in his report, during the interview with Liang Jiao, he shows no remorse for Ashley. The only time he showed remorse for was when he found out that he would not be able to see his daughter Jojo. Even during his sentencing, he tells the judge, a year ago yesterday, I lost my daughter. And he says nothing of any substantial value or emotional substance. He continues and takes a weird turn. No one is going to remember my daughter. No one. The people in my family, I don't want to be rude, but none of you remember her. None. It's so strange. And it's just left netizens with like a really bad taste in their mouth. There are a lot of people from the community that are confused, writing, they look so nice. They seem like good people. Others writing, I remember this case. I was a new mom and I couldn't even fathom someone being able to do something like that. We all prayed together in front of the restaurant and left flowers and stuffed animals. They actually demolished and rebuilt the strip mall not too long after it happened, but we're never going to forget that poor baby girl. Another comment reads, if your child isn't potty trained at 5, that's completely on you. That is the responsibility of the parent, not the child. She's probably under constant stress that she had that little bladder control. Others are traumatized by their Asian parents actually using this case against them. One netizen writes, my mother would have loved to use this case to tell me how good I had it. Weirdly, she always tells me to read child abuse books and tell me how good I have it. Others write, it sounds like poor baby Ashley was autistic and needed early intervention. This breaks my heart. I hope they get buried in jail. The fact that they use their other daughter and let her see her sister, quote, sleeping as an alibi, makes me want to throw up. The reviews to the restaurant now just read, not child friendly. And that is the case of Ashley Jiao. What are your thoughts? Let me know in the comments. Be safe, and I will see you in the next one. Ikaw ba to? Mag-Herbon Z Plus. Help get more energy, more immunity, more vitamins. Education, personal income, Chinese zodiac sign. Every poster tries to stand out in some way, shape, or form. Very casually loves to cook for senior citizens. There are subzones within the poster. Sometimes it's organized by birth year. This is the weekly Shanghai marriage market, where parents gather to find their adult children a spouse. Now, side note, most of the posters aren't even made by the potential marriage candidates, but rather their parents who print out these posters and go display them at the marriage market. From what I can see, most young Chinese people think the last people on earth that should help them pick a marriage partner are their parents, but I digress. Some of the parents will even print their unmarried children's statistics onto the sides of their umbrellas as they walk through the park. Their little sunbrellas. If anyone is approved, the parents will ask the potential candidate for their child, how much money do you have saved up? How much money do you make in a year? How many kids do you want? Do you have any health issues? These are very normal first meeting questions. It's fascinating. One poster reads, looking for a friend, Shanghainese, born in 1980, male, professional college degree, company clerk, has an apartment with 3 bedrooms, lives alone. Here's the phone number. It's not just in Shanghai. Many major cities across China have these marriage markets. And again, most of the time, parents don't even get their children's explicit consent to be doing this. Otherwise, I see this as no different from regular online dating, just done in person. Maybe visually it's a little bit more jolting, but other than that, it's very normal. But for Nunu, this marriage market is not going to work. Usually, you don't have the marriage candidate go out there themselves and market themselves. That usually results in a storm of people surrounding you, and you have no clue if they're even here for the right reasons. So instead, you go straight to the matchmaker. It's not the best option, considering she doesn't have to pay them. But the matchmaker tells her to go to this very specific location. If the matchmaker finds anyone that is interested in Nunu, she's going to send them over to meet up with Nunu. She's like, go wait at this cafe.
Nunu is looking for a partner?
Yes. This is when she's mid to late 20s now. And she tells her, go wait at this cafe. If I find someone interested in you, I'm going to send them to the cafe and they're going to be looking for you. Nunu waits for 3 days. Obviously, not continuously. She would go home at night, wash up, and back the next day. But for 3 days, nothing. Nobody is said. And the main problem she thought was they all look down on my family, because the matchmaker has to provide all the details about Nuno. And she said it's to be expected. She believed other potential candidates would only see her as a burden to take on, not someone to match their children or even uplift their children, just more baggage. Nuno goes back to the matchmaker and tells her, maybe all those things that I told you earlier about what I want in a husband, maybe it's fine. I mean, I'm not that picky. I could even lower some of the standards that I previously gave you. Okay, what are your standards now? Any deal breakers? Nuno says that she thought about it for a second and said, well, I guess as long as he doesn't beat me after marriage, I guess that's my only standard. A few more days pass and still nobody shows up. And Nuno goes back to the matchmaker and tells her, well, actually, maybe if he just hits me once in a while, I'll be okay. Alarmingly, the next day, a man arrives to match with her. Let's call this Sam. It's so awkward. They both know that they're trying to get married, but there's no natural way to meet for the first time like this. It's uncomfortable, kind of in an endearing way. Nuno is incredibly bubbly, outspoken. She's got this cute, doe-eyed look to her. And after their date, the matchmaker calls her. So we think of Sam. Nuno is terrified of rejection, even though she really likes Sam. She plays it cool. You should ask Sam first. If he agrees, then I agree. If he doesn't agree, then I don't agree. That night, the matchmaker texts her. Sam agrees. We get married, and I keep waiting. I keep waiting for more shoes to drop. Like, Sam is going to be this horrendous monster. But he's actually so sweet. He does not care about her past. He takes such good care of her. They purchase a home together. He helps her open up her own beauty salon, and they have children together. And now, Nuno is on the phone with her sister, 26 years after being kidnapped, asking her, this is everything that's happened in my life now. I'm married, I have children, and why didn't you look for me? So much has happened. I mean, where were you? Nuno's sister tells her, of course we looked for you. We were known as the blanket family. For months after Nuno went missing, they printed out pictures of Nuno, went to every single neighbor, every train station asking, have you seen this girl? Have you seen her? They carried around blankets. For 8 months, they just went from one train station to another, sleeping at the train stations. Their dad almost got into trouble a few times because he would grab at random strangers at the station, shaking them by the shoulders. Why did you take my daughter? Where did you take her? Just tell me. I know you took her. Nuno's sister would have to explain, I'm sorry for my dad. My sister's missing and we're all a little bit tense. All the strangers would brush the dust off their shoulders and just kind of give looks of pity and maybe understanding before walking off. Nuno originally believed that she had been given up to be trafficked or given up for adoption because of the one-child policy in China. And she's a girl. She says, all these years I really suffered, but who could I even tell? I've been waiting to go back and tell my parents. I want to complain to my parents for a little bit. I want to say, do you know what I've been through? Do you know how hard I fought to grow up? Do you know how many beatings I took? I just want to tell them that. She says, I want to go home crying and I want to tell them, do you know how much I suffered? But the minute I spoke with my sister, all of that was gone. I just wanted to be with them. I wanted to bring them to live with me and buy lots of skincare from my mother, lots of snacks from my sister. I mean, it's been 26 years, but she's been thinking of them every waking moment of her entire freaking life. So it's fine. She tells her sister, it's okay. Just hurry up and give me mom and dad's number. Hello? Nuno. They're done. Nuno says in that moment she threw herself on the ground. Her whole body felt like she had just been thrown off a boat into the ocean. She just felt sobs go through her body. Her wails were painful. Her husband and 3 kids run into the room trying to figure out what's wrong. Nuno can't even talk. Finally, when the words come out, she just screams at her husband, there's nothing left. Everything is gone. Just, this is not how I fantasized about it. I imagined I would at least be able to see my parents, and I envisioned how I would interact with them. What do you mean they're dead? I imagined all these scenarios of why my parents didn't find me sooner. My parents might have had relationship problems. Maybe they got divorced and started their own little families, and they didn't want to look for me. Another possibility was They finally gave birth to a boy. They had my sister, they had a son, so perhaps they didn't look for me as hard as they could, or that I was indeed sold. I thought about all these scenarios for 26 years, but I didn't expect that they'd be dead. Nunu is 34 years old. She was trafficked when she was 5. Her parents died when she was 7, but she never knew.
Her parents died 2 years later?
Yeah, they were both very young.
Why?
Depression. Her parents did not sell her or help traffic her because they wanted a son. Everyone who knew them said the family, they did okay for themselves. They're small town people, but they were doing okay. They had 2 kids, which, yeah, not allowed in one child policy, but they had 2 daughters. It does not appear that they ever wished for a son. The daughters were really well taken care of, which sounds crazy to say that, but like given the context, you get it. Now, Nunu's parents, they worked a lot. Both of them were gone for majority of the day and even into the night, which meant it was just Nunu and her sister. Nunu's memory of her parents was they would come home late at night and they would want to hang out with their girls. So they would get chicken drumsticks and wave them around in the girls' faces while they're asleep. And they would go swap to the smell of chicken and they would jump out of bed and they would all share this delicious meal of fried chicken together in the middle of the night. And the most impactful memory for Nunu's dad was she promised to buy him a camel. Okay, the majority of the local population where Nunu grew up are Miao people. And in their culture, when people pass away, it's customary for family members to purchase a cow and present it during the funeral. So right before Nunu was kidnapped, she had gone to a local funeral with her parents, and she's 5. She doesn't understand the depressing concept of death yet. She knows that loved ones buy loved ones cows when they pass away at the funeral. Nunu turns to her dad. Dad, they're way too stingy. That cow is the smallest cow I've ever seen. When you die, we're gonna buy you the biggest cow. I'm gonna buy you a bigger cow. It's kind of an odd statement, but instead of being upset at his daughter for planning his death, he finds it endearing. And soon after, at another funeral, she sees one of the family members of the deceased not only purchase a very big cow, but also brought a camel. She turns to her dad and tells him, "Remember what I said? Forget it. I'm buying you a camel instead." And ever since Nunu disappeared, her sister Sang said, all Dad would do is get drunk, roll around on the floor, screaming, "Where is my camel, though? But I was promised a camel. Where's my camel?" He just went from being this very bright, cheerful workaholic that really only cared about work and his family to drinking all day. Nunu's sister explains that even when he was drunk, he never got violent or full of rage. He was just a sad man, moving monster. He couldn't sleep without alcohol. Even in his sleep, he would call out for Nunu as if they're back at the train stations. It's complicated for Nunu's sister because part of her hates herself because Nunu told her she was going to go buy needles with the neighbor. She didn't stop her. But another part of her wants to scream at her parents, "Mom, Dad, I'm your daughter too, and I need someone to take care of me too." But she never did. And one night, Dad pulled her aside and said, he's not drunk that night, surprisingly. He turns to her. "I don't know how much longer I'm going to last, Saint." Then when he said, "If one day I'm gone, if your mother remarries, don't follow her. If your stepfather is killed to you, you're going to suffer without a sleep. Don't go. Don't live with your uncle either. He has too many kids and might not be able to take care of you. Stay with your grandmother and your other uncle. He's always been a good person and he'll make sure you never starve." Nunu's sister nods because she can't really talk. But finally she asks him, "Dad, why can't you stay? I will earn money soon and take care of you, and Mom, just hold on a little longer. I can take care of you." He just grabs her hands and says, "Just miss your sister a lot. You've always been a great daughter and we wronged you. Please don't leave us." Soon afterwards, he ingested rat poison and passed away. A few weeks later, their mom passed. She had been slowly losing her mind for a while. That night, Nunu decides she's not going to get her parents a cow or a camel. She's going to get them revenge. Not even just to avenge what happened to her or her parents, but also to her sister. Her sister was orphaned at like 10 years old. I mean, everyone in the village called her sister a bully because Nunu went missing. Both her parents died, and she's the last one standing. Maybe she's the bad luck. They all just stayed away from her just to be safe. During all of this, news that she knew my parents were us while I was still young, deceased and trapped in a grave, while the traffickers were roaming free in some distant place beyond the law. Just think about that, makes me restless. Every single night, I lay in bed and I couldn't help but imagine my parents wandering around like lost souls on a desolate night for over a decade. And at that moment, I became resolute in just one thought. I'm gonna bring these traffickers to justice. I'm gonna seek justice for my parents' lives, for the suffering endured by my sister and me, and for the destruction of my family. And I just have one question. Human traffickers, do you know what you've done? The only way to catch a human trafficker, there's not really foolproof way to say hard to catch one, but I guess the first is to become famous. Yunu had been trying to hunt down traffickers, her traffickers for years. Nobody listened until she became someone famous. Suddenly, all the cops wanted to happen. She had following, she's reunited with her family, she was making the same media news. And now everybody wants justice. And coincidentally, that does make the police much more helpful. They're able to track down the same house that she's taken to where they were negotiating with how much it's going to cost. They retraced her steps, found the safe house, and the first person they get to is this old man named Wayne. He's the one that runs the safe house. She begs this man, please, you're already 90 years old. You've lived 60 more years than my parents. You might not even be in prison when they arrest you. Can you just do one thing good? Are you trying to carry this to grief? Just give me the name of the trafficker. I don't know what I can tell you. I don't know, okay? I don't even know where you came from. Juan or me. I can't find Juan anymore anyway, and it was Juan.
Is that a name?
Yes, it's like saying it was Tom.
Oh, okay. So just like party thing.
Yeah, it's like it was Kate. She stopped dead in the tracks. Yu Hai, she's staring at her. How do you know her phone? Nunu said she always remembered the name Yu Hai, but she had no clue where she remembered that name. She just thought it was a family member because her name is Nu Hua and her sister's name is Sang Yin. Yin. Yu Hai Yin. She thought it was a family member, like not because it's a combination of both her and her sister. At this moment, that name sure is the trafficker's name.
What's been her brain?
Yes, and but she couldn't place who maybe it's her aunt because you don't like your aunt by phone is spies. She thought it was aunt. Was sure that they do a dozen photos and each and every single time Nunu was able to point her out. It's her. She's the trafficker. She's a freaking neighbor. On Father's Day, a restaurant is going to hot. The 60-year-old, now 60 years old, is playing mahjong with her friends when she's arrested. Red hair. He buys her hair at 60 and she's wearing pants. The prosecutor also brings forth the information that this isn't even her first time getting arrested for children. She was arrested in 2004 for kidnapping some children, aka human trafficking, child trafficking. She was sentenced to 8 years in prison, but for some reason, unbeknownst to me and anybody else with more than 5 else, she gets released in 5 years on good behavior. You kidnap children, you sell children, but you've been doing a great job at keeping yourself very clean and tidy. Perhaps you have fully rehabilitated. I don't know how those two things are representative of each other. I mean, a person with a tidy room is still a person with a tidy room, I guess. The logic is beyond me. This time when she gets arrested and she's court because now Nunu is bringing her to court, trafficking her 26 years ago. The traffickers are a bunch of different things. She's pulling out every excuse in the book. She says, actually, it's not me. That's the brains of the operation. It's the middleman. The middleman was forcing me to take profit. You know, I know I've suffered children. Not any of that. It's not the middleman. It's not the man that I was seeing. It's this very terrible accident that I was in. A car had me with the animal. The car hit me, and no, it just pulled up my hippocampus. Curiously, it only left all the memories of doing the deeds, every bad deed she allegedly committed and she doesn't remember trafficking one. It's a very believable story, and all of us are idiots. She tries to argue everything. Then she switches up and says, "You don't realize this full suffering." She tries to hold me. I'm 60 years old for 60 years. All I've done in this life. She points to you to use testimony sentence. She's lying. She's a liar. You're a liar. You were just a child. You can't possibly remember anything that was 20 years old. Don't make up stories. She also claimed that she had any she abducted, which I know sounds moot point because she abducted them, so that should be enough. But it would actually get her more time behind bars if she was also violent with them. The prosecutors believe her. You're telling me these children are 6 years old. How did they not cry or resist? What illegal methods did you use on them crying, or did you just hit them in submission? Well, ask prosecutors. What they didn't cry or resist. What lawyers said. Basically, the prosecutors are saying there isn't the world that you should cry. And if they cried, how did you get them to stop? You must have hit them. And she said, well, what if they didn't cry? How do you want me to respond? Like, I didn't hit them because they didn't cry.
I don't know why she's being a smart ass now.
She said no remorse until the very end. All Nunu and the other victims that they were able to find, at first it was around 11 victims that she
They
has.
all came forward. Yes. The kids. What's now?
Yes.
Wow.
All they wanted was for her to say, I'm sorry, I was wrong. I was blinded by greed. I broke up families because of it, and all this suffering has been my fault. But instead, they got nothing.
So it sounds like a lot of these came out or was solved because of Joey message people. So she came forward first, and then it blew up. Everyone tracked this woman, and then all the other victims probably also heard about this news through social media and all that, and they all came forward.
And remembered her. Or some of the parents remembered her.
Yeah.
So there's 2 trials for Fa, one in 2023, one this year. And the first trial, it was 11 children. Now, Nunu is asked to testify in the first trial. She has to tell the courts how much worse she is because of what the trafficker did. Now, the first trial in 2023 is entirely draining. Nunu ends up walking into the courtroom one day, and you just hear this giant thud. Everybody goes quiet, and they're staring at her. Nunu is on her knees in the middle of the courtroom. She has been testifying. She's been advocating. She's been going on news stations trying to tell everybody what's happened to her, draw attention to this case because in China previously, child traffickers were getting like 10 years in prison. And she's begging everybody. And now she's on her knees in front of the judges and she requests, I request the court impose a heavy sentence on Pop.
She knew in front of the judge.
Because she didn't know what else to do. She's so desperate. All Nunu could hear while on her knees in the courtroom were the sounds of her sister sobbing behind her. September 18th, 2023, Pa is sentenced to death. Nunu would go back and kneel down, but this time at her parents' grave. Mom, Dad, I sent the child trafficker to jail. She's going to be sentenced to death for the crime of child trafficking. The court said the defendant, Yu Hai is sentenced to death for the crime of child trafficking with lifelong deprivation of political rights and confiscation of all personal property. That's what they thought. But Fa had the audacity to demand a retrial, stating that the punishment is way too severe, that it borderlines cruel and unusual punishment, which I assume this is why so many lawyers revelations is they discover that Pa's very first victim ever was her own son. She sold him for $700. She did have a daughter as well. That's her very first child. She thought that she could help with trafficking other kids.
She said her daughter could help.
That's why she would keep the daughter and then go to neighborhoods. Their MO was they would rent these little rooms for maybe 3 weeks to a month, act like they've moved in permanently. They're getting settled down, friends with all the neighbors, get the daughter to hang out with little kids, lure them out like she did with Nunu, and then leave. Her husband and her daughter would meet her in the next location.
Were they charged? Were they?
They died. The daughter was not, because at the time that she was of age, she was with her parents. The husband had died. One of the mothers that had been impacted, both of her children had been sold and trafficked by cars. She says, she snatched and sold two of my children. It took me 20 years to find them. A lot of the stories are not as public as you knew. Other parents were unable to reunite with their family members because a lot of them, they just got scattered afterwards. A lot of the parents, after their children were trafficked to divorces, they moved away. They weren't able to come back. Some of them got ill and passed away from a quote broken heart, if you will, or a few of them had self-exited. Before the sentencing, the trafficker gives another statement. This is the second trial. She's like, I don't deserve the death penalty. I'm going to give another statement. She tries to tug at people's emotions. I don't know, okay? She pulls out a few pieces of paper and just starts reading off her statement. And it's a blank statement. It's just, I was too young at the time and I made mistakes and I only sold my child out of desperation. My financial situation was dire. My husband was irresponsible. He got arrested. He was the main breadwinner. I have no way of surviving while raising this child.
That is pretty sad.
The unit gives a final victim impact statement for the judge to take into consideration. She's wearing all black. She says very loudly for the entire court to hear every single word clearly. She's talking directly to her trafficker. You say you only completed the second grade. You didn't know better, but you have 3 pages of notes that you read off, and not a single word was misread. Because of your actions, my quote unquote stopped me from going to school at the 6th grade. And my sister only completed the 4th grade. To this day, my sister still can't recognize most words. The trafficker can take out her own paper and clearly read out her own appeal. The trafficker caused all of this single-handedly. Paul tries to argue that she was young. She was 30 years old when she kidnapped me. She said she was too young to understand the consequences of what that would have done. She was over 30 years old when she kidnapped me. But she still thinks that's too young? My mom was 32 when she died. She was already lying in her grave when Paul kidnapped me. She was already older than my dead mother. What Paul did to us directly caused my mother to go insane after she lost me. My father became an alcoholic. They asked everyone, do you know where Nunu is? Why is it that in all of Pa's words, it's all about how tough her life was, and she did all of this because of money? Our suffering was caused by Pa. She could have had a happy life. Her life struggles were not caused by us. She said she had a difficult life, but my sister went to work at a factory when she was 13. I went to work at an ice cream factory when I was 14. Do you know how hard our lives were? But we never worked hard about breaking the law or trafficking children. She says she sold her son because she couldn't afford to raise him, but she was working at the time at a noodle shop earning money. She just wasn't satisfied. She could have put him up for adoption, so why sell him for money? She saw it as an easy way to make profit, much quicker than working hard. So she began kidnapping children to sell. And now after all of this, she repents. She turns to Hawk. You stand here in court confident, while I, someone who's only asking for justice, unshaken with anxiety. All the parents in the audience who have been searching for their children for years are crying, and yet you don't show a single sign of concern. From start to finish, you've only been focused on how to defend yourself and deny your crimes, without a shred of remorse. I'm justice for my family and all the families of the victims present here. December 19th.